Hi, I'm Pastor Sarah, and I'm excited to be with you for our family learning video for Pasadena United Methodist Church this week. We're continuing our series on the parables, and this week we're looking at the parable of the sower. And so one of the things I wanted to talk about for our family learning video, you can check out our family learning guide that has some questions to go through discussion with your kids. But one of the best tools for talking about faith with your children is actually to try to do it while you're doing something. And so this week I want to share with you, got my youngest daughter, Mary, who's 6, almost 7, and we did some gardening because the parable's about gardening. Now for the video, we actually sat and kind of planted, and we'll plant seeds and you'll be able to see that. But you might find that as you're going about your chores in the daily week, that some of these themes lend themselves well to be talked about while you're doing things. Sometimes kids can be really nervous. As you've seen it, when I use my kids in these videos, they know that they're on camera, and so that kind of makes the experience a little bit different, sometimes really different than it would be if we were just talking. But even with your own kids, whether because it might feel awkward for them or for you, sometimes just sitting and talking and kind of going through the questions can maybe not feel super comfortable. But if you do the same thing while you're doing an activity, and it doesn't even have to be an activity related to the theme. Some parents really like having discussions with their kids while they're shooting a basketball, or while they're going on a walk, or even maybe going on a jog. So the times that you're doing things with your kids can actually be really ideal times to have some discussions, because that time together, you can kind of have discussions casually, and that often can open you up to discussions that maybe it might feel awkward to say, okay, let's sit down and talk about our parable. Now, some people might like to do that. Some families might really like to have that structured time. So find what works for you. What we find is that a mix of those things is often really helpful, but it does take an attentiveness as a parent. And so hopefully having a theme for each week, really thinking about the passage so that you kind of have your mind open to where that might connect in the course of your daily life can help. Beyond that, there are lots of themes that can come up when you have opportunity and you're talking with your kids, you're going through your daily life, or you see something happen, whether it's on the news or as you're at the store, whatever you're doing. Those can be great opportunities to just do a quick tie-in for your kids. As you probably know, repetition is so important to learning. And so while it's great to have a theme that you can carry throughout the week, and that repetition is going to be really important, the repetition of a simple theme like God's love or care for those in need is something that you can really weave in throughout your entire week. So check out this example and this conversation between Mary and I, and think about the ways that you might be able to weave the story of the parable of the sower, both about God's reckless, extravagant love, but also how we can be good soil and be a place for God's seed to grow. And think about how you might be able to weave that into your family's week this week. Well, Mary, thank you for joining me. We're going to show folks something that we might do at home. You really like gardening, right?
Yeah.
What things do you hope we get into gardening? What do you like to grow?
I really wanted to grow tomatoes.
Tomatoes. We've got like an herb garden we're growing. Scoot a little bit.
I also kind of want to grow some apples.
To grow some apples?
Mm-hmm.
Well, so we're going to try something today. I thought we might work on gardening. We're learning how to garden because Mommy and Daddy, we're still learning how to garden. So we're learning with you, right?
Our garden at our house outside is dying.
Yeah, we got to do some work in our garden.
Mm.
That's true. We're going to probably do some work later today,
Let's eat those.
These seeds, I'm going to show folks, we've got, you saw me take these out. They're apple seeds. We took them out of an apple, and we made sure to get them so that we didn't cut them with a knife. And so we want to plant these and see if we can get them to grow. So what do you think we need in order to get them to grow?
Something to grow in.
So to grow in? Okay. Here, let's lift it up and show everybody. Okay.
We're going to get some dirt.
We got some dirt.
Put
Now,
it in our...
now this is special dirt. That's kind of dried out.
That's our
Okay.
dry.
Now, are there some things that would be bad to put the seeds in?
Maybe like if you put it in oil.
Oil, okay. Let's do that. Let's see. And let's put the seeds in And then because we want to kind of bury the seeds, we'll put the seeds in. And probably if you're really growing, you should probably just do one, but I'm kind of worried one of these might not take. So, okay, we'll put some more. What's some other things that you shouldn't plant where you wouldn't want to plant seeds?
On a dog.
On a dog. Okay, put that. What is, we're here by our fireplace. Okay, leave it. This is, what are these?
Brick.
Okay, scoot on in brick. And do you know what brick is made out of?
It's made out of like concrete.
Like clay. It's made out of clay. Would that be a good surface to plant a seed on?
It would probably just hold it, and the seed would just be stuck in there and not be able to grow because it's so tight that it would like dry out.
Yeah, it would.
And if you watered it, it would get like too wet.
Yeah, it'd be all yucky.
It would be so gross.
Okay, so we've got some dirt. We don't have a lot of dirt in here, but it might be enough to get it started. And so what else do plants need to grow? Normally we would put this in a potting thing, but we wanted to be able to see it as
water.
Water, that's right. We've got some water. Okay, so you tell me how much. We don't want to drown it, right? Too much water. So tell me when you think we put enough water in. It's good?
Yeah.
Okay, we can always come back and put more water in. It's actually kind of, I think that dirt was really dry and needs to absorb the water. Now Jesus, so this week Jesus told a parable. Yeah, that water is really absorbed. Look at that. It's starting to soak in. It really needs to soak some of that in. Normally you'd probably want something.
More like
yeah, we'll let it soak in. Normally, and we can replant this later. You want to put it in a pot that can drain a little bit too, because sometimes you put too much water in, you want it to be able to drain, which is what would happen in the dirt. But Jesus told a parable about a farmer or a sower who was planting seeds, and he took the seeds. Now were we careful with those seeds when we got them out of the apple?
Yeah, we put them in small cups so that we wouldn't
lose them.
We got all of the material, like something to put in and dirt.
We got everything together. Now Jesus talked about that God's kind of like a farmer, and God just threw the seed everywhere onto good soil and bad soil. Does that sound like a very smart idea?
Well, it would probably help some people, but it's also bad because, like, why would you put it on bad soil? You need all of this, like, good soil. This is very dry, so you need to put it in a lot of water. And that's kind of like the bad soil because it was too dry.
Yeah.
And you had to put a lot of water in it, and he needed to feed us.
Well, you know what? That's kind of a really good point, is that sometimes even bad soil can be made better. But Jesus is talking to his disciples, and they are curious because they're like, Jesus, you're telling everybody about God, but some people are listening and some people aren't. Some people are like good soil, and the seed that's planted can grow. And some people
are like bad soil.
Yeah.
Soil, like all of this dryness that are trying to take the water.
Dry soil, and actually some of this soil is pretty hard because it's been sitting in our garage for a little bit in its bag. Well, and Jesus said that the seed can only grow in good soil. So did you know that one of the things Jesus is talking about is that you're like dirt? Did you know that?
So seeds couldn't only grow in this dry of a soil because it was too dry and there wasn't enough water, or else it would sell the people, and he wanted them to be alive.
Well, Jesus talks about sharing God's love, that some people are good soil, and when God's love is planted inside them, that can grow so they can share they can share that love with other people. But some people right now aren't very good soil. What might make somebody not very good soil for God's love? That like God's love might not really make them very loving if they're not really good soil for it to grow in.
Like, kind of, like, so, what is it? So, certain things have certain things. Like, to grow, you need soil. And if you don't have water in the soil, it won't grow. And so,
well, what are some things that we can do to help God's seed of love grow? Maybe like read the Bible. Would that be something that could make us be good soil?
Yeah, and also pray and help other people and pray for other people. You need to do anything that you can and follow God, and then He will accept you.
Well, and that God loves all of us, right? But we can't really grow and share that love, right? We say at bedtime, that I love you and God loves you. There's nothing you can ever do to change that, right?
Yeah.
But we can't really grow God's love if we're not good soil. And so we can't make God's love grow, but we can make sure we're good soil by making sure that we're listening to God, that we're praying,
and
that we're reading the Bible.
Like all of this bad soil that's too dry.
Yeah.
So God's love to be like planted in.
Yeah.
So he can be like spreading his love all over our body so that all of our body is good.
Yeah. So we gotta be good soil. Well, very good. Well, I'm excited to see. I think we might replant this later in another pot, but we can kind of look at the soil. And it certainly would be cool if you could like see the seeds start to grow roots. Well, I'm excited to continue gardening with you, and I think it's really cool that Jesus talks about gardening, so that every time we garden, we can think about these sorts of things, like what we need to be good soil. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Mary.